are. So the other aspect of this conversation, which is the last aspect of this conversation, it is really the struggles that women face, which then hinders the progress that they have towards a society, right? Because you'll realize that these days, it's not really about lifting heavy material for you to be rich. Do you understand? You don't have to be lifting anything heavy these days, of which really we know that the females aren't really masculine or as such. Do you understand? When it comes to lifting heavy stuff, right? We're not giants, we're not whatever, right? So, but the question is, these days, it's progress or success really has nothing to do with lifting heavy stuff. Do you understand? It doesn't. So then, what are the struggles that females have, which then hinders the progress that they should be having towards society? For an example, on YouTube has released a report which states clearly that their YouTubers, the podcasters, the whatever, the people who release content, it's 80% male, right? Then 20% females. So therefore, when you look at the structure of YouTube itself, it's not a situation like, oh, you can be like, no, there could be reasons why it's male dominated. No, I struggle to understand that as well, because as the female gender, we are privileged enough to talk, right? So why can't we really release content on YouTube? Why can't we really get things done in terms of in different things, right? Why do we have these struggles? So number one, I realized that one of our struggles is this inferiority complex that is amongst females. We lack courage towards ourselves. We have so much disbelief on self, so much disbelief in ourselves. We undermine ourselves. Really, there's this inferiority complex that I struggle to understand, and we should be getting to a position where we want to face these things, so that we should be ready to get to a point where we want to get things done as women, right? So it's a question, therefore, whether we want to sit at the bottom and only wait for breadcrumbs, or we want really to get to a position where we want to organize tactics and get to a point where we can just catch the bones like like everyone else. Because really, I struggle to understand why do all these many different arenas which don't really demand so much physical strength are still male dominated. So it's a question, therefore, that really do we still want to be receiving all these smaller nyana things, or we want to get to a point where we can get things done like the other gender, right? So that's one of my struggles in understanding why females do not really go deeper in society. Number one, it's this inferiority complex, and then number two, it's this constant urge for females to attain perfection, right? So the fact is that perfection is unattainable, right? And we have to get to a point where really we are at peace with the way things are. We can just get things done and then move on to the next without necessarily demanding that things should be perfect. As females, we want to wait before things are perfect so that we could start investing. We want to wait things to be perfect before we start any type of business. So why? So therefore, it's a question really of us having to sit down and make peace with the imperfect, so that really we can find progress at the end of the day. Because you can't expect everything to be perfect, right? In anything. If that's the mindset that you have, you should know that you will spend the whole day doing one thing, because really perfection is unattainable. We should be at peace with the way things are so that we can really move on and progress. That's what the other gender does. They just get things done and then move on to the next and then move on to the next. They prioritize simplicity when they make things. Whatever that they do, they prioritize simplicity. They keep things simple. They get things done and then be able to move on to the next. So really, it's a question of all of us having to sit down and understand that really not everything has to be perfect, right? Not everything has to be perfect. Some things you have to get them done and then just move on. So really, it's very important for us as the female gender now to start and promote simplicity so that really our lives could progress at the end of the day. So there's a lot of struggles that females encounter. There's a lot of struggles which starts from the individual female to the collective of all the females, because really we can't always sit and demand that the government should do this, the employers should do that for us, the society should do this for us. No, we should get to a point where we want to stand out and get things done ourselves. This is a question really of whether we want to always sit down and expect these authorities to do things for us, or really we want to wake up and get things done ourselves. Otherwise, I am deeply inspired by all the beautiful women who does incredible work out there in different areas. You guys are our role models. We will wake up tomorrow and saying that Luyanda Duma did this, whoever did this. That is why, Lina, I got inspired and got this done. We thank you so much. And there's a lot of brave, bold women from the past itself. We thank you so much for being such powerful role models in our lives. So it does make sense really for us to sit down and have these conversations with ourselves, really to stop expecting so much from these authorities, because the world is headed towards another direction, the 4IR, and we should be able really as women to understand that. How do we adjust lerune to understand, instead of undermining our potential? How do we adjust, move forward, and then understand that we have a lot to offer to the world? Because really, at the end of the day, now, the physical strength isn't nothing. What's more important now is really the tactics within the mind. So how then do we want to adjust as well as the female gender? So otherwise, I am deeply thankful to all the beautiful and the brave, the courageous women out here. We thank you so much. We thank you so much. I understand that the female gender deals with a lot of things, right? Otherwise, it is important for us for in having these conversations about women, and never leave out the fact that we have to get to a point where we want to get things done ourselves. We learn, we unlearn, we relearn. That just this intention to really promote our lives and get to a point where we own ourselves. We want to get things done instead of expecting these authorities to do things for us. So otherwise, I thank you so much for joining me in this beautiful conversation. I deeply thank you, and I hope that I've been able to really to help you consider some of the stuff that really we've been struggling to understand ourselves, that really we can't always expect too much from the other people. We have to get to a point where we want to get things done ourselves. We want to learn, we want to evolve. We are ready to just be we are ready to just be fully ourselves, instead of really focusing on the opposite gender. One of my beautiful quotes I've learned lately, it says that fully focus on your contribution instead of your competition. No, we shouldn't be looking at what the male gender does, but we should look deeper into the feminine energy to see what it is that it can offer to the world, so that really we can all go forward and fully embracing ourselves with not so much worry and fake or anything. So I'd like to end this conversation about on this Women's Day, about to quote a quote by Thomas Sankara. So Thomas Sankara says, we do not talk of women emancipation or out of a surge of charity or of out of a surge of charity or of human compassion, but it is a necessary revolution. It is a necessity for the revolution to triumph. Otherwise, I deeply thank you for joining me in this beautiful conversation. There's really many powerful people we'll look up to, and we thank you for so much support in really empowering the women, the female gender itself. Thank you so much. Bye.